Hello everyone, it's me Varus and we're back with another video, and in this video there's a lot to talk about. A possible major winter storm possible next weekend. There's lots of signals showing up in a little clipper system that I'll dive through next 48 hours into the eastern US, and so lots to monitor. Definitely a little bit of changes since my last video. If you do enjoy this video, please consider subscribing, liking, sharing with friends. Let's get right into it. So currently satellite imagery is pulled up and relatively quiet, I will be honest. Got a little shortwave spinning over here off the coast of Baja California Sur. Up to the north, you got a big, massive low spinning well off the coast, but providing cloud cover, especially in the Pacific Northwest and the Intermountain Rockies. Further east, a little break in between, including for the desert Southwest. While you go east, some cloud cover coming from the north, as that's ahead of our clipper system that's expected to dive down over the next few days, and it'll cause some snow conditions across the eastern U.S., including for the major cities. And then in the east, a couple of disturbances had this other disturbance kind of diminished since the early this morning. This brought some of the lighter snow showers across the mid-Atlantic, meaning the southern portion of the mid-Atlantic. Very light. Another little low trying to take hold. This is going to pass to the south as well, but this could bring some snows proportionally to northern North Carolina and southern South Virginia, southern Virginia. So we're going to watch that, as that could paint a picture of 1 to 3 inches or so. So we'll watch that, most likely closer to 1 to 2. Closer to 1 most likely, but we'll watch that. Next, we'll look at it on the graphic map as we usually do. So first, overall, just triple high right now in place over in the west. You can see the frontal boundary from our massive low. That's way up here. And then here's your other low right here. This is what's traversing south. Going to generally head mainly east, maybe gains a tad bit of latitude, but snows will be confined up into here as some warmer air does actually advect in. And so any snow cover for portions like Raleigh, especially south, likely diminish, okay, quite significantly, as you do get rain in those areas. Go over that in a bit. Further north, here's your low right here. This is your clipper. This is well up into Canada. I'm not sure. I think this is Manitoba. Could be wrong. But either way, it's way up in Canada. So once we get to like Friday, it'll be starting to enter into the eastern U.S. Or once we get further into Thursday, and then once we get to Friday, it'll make its approach and entry into the northeast. So these areas circled will likely get affected by these snows. Here's your little low right here that caused the lighter snow showers here. Very weak, 10-15, so it's heading out. So those are the main features to look at. Weather alerts, mainly wintry. So some dense fog advisories we've had over the past consecutive days over in the west. In the east, some special weather statements likely concerning some wintry conditions or fog, maybe even some fire. Statements, check with their local WFOs. Here we have some winter storm watches. This is with the clipper system that will bring pretty hefty winds along with some snow. This definitely looks like a potent one. I'll explain why in oh my goodness, in a bit. Sorry about that. In eastern North Carolina, though, we do have some winter weather advisories, okay? And I guess so Raleigh, so we actually were having north trends, but shifted back south, and so we have some wintry weather kind of, I think, ongoing. We can actually take a little example. Okay, light rain. So, okay, yeah, so it's rain, but could end with some light snow. So either way, 41 degrees, it's likely melting a lot of any of the snow. And even then, it's really just a chance of wintry weather if we were to go here. Mixed precipitation up to an inch, mainly north of Raleigh. For example, if we go up to Roxborough, or around Roxborough, 37. Here we have a more likely shot of rain and snow, at least mixing with some ice. So we'll watch that. I'd say it's more viable for the northern half. I'd say it's more viable here. I'm surprised southern Virginia doesn't have as many. Maybe probably some southward shifts that happen. But overall, like, even if we were to take an example, take a little standing down near Kenansville. We'll just go just south of Kenansville. 45 degrees, 51, 30. This is likely melting a lot of this snow cover. Even with this little wintry weather, we could possibly expect, not even likely, mainly north of Raleigh. Durham, for example, could be getting a little more wintry weather. There you have it, some wintry mix likely. So Those are your main alerts. Expect more alerts to overspread in the east as we get our Clipper storm. So we'll watch that. We'll see even if the I-95 can get a winter weather advisory, at least maybe a special weather statement, because light snow, then to snow squalls with gusty winds definitely poses for some threat. So let's kind of go through the model run. Latest SNAM, 18 ZAM, fresh model. So here's your first storm. As you can see, it's mainly rain. Okay, it's mainly rain right now. Your 540 line is right here, but surface temperatures are obviously very marginal, so your snow is mainly confined, honestly, to the mountains. Excuse me. But you do get some cold air that infiltrates. I think this is why we have the winter weather advisory. So right here, you'd get some icy mix, some snow, but it's very short lasting, okay? They are also more aggressive with winter weather advisories further south than, for example, up here in the Mid-Atlantic, or northern Mid-Atlantic, central Mid-Atlantic, compared to southeast. So makes sense, but it's a quick shot and it's out. It was looking a little more aggressive, but mean snow going on in the mountains. Behind that, there's your Clipper right here. Pretty strong. Honestly, this is a pretty strong Clipper. Could get sub 1,000 millibars. We'll see how that goes. Here's your snow. Starts to overspread, as you can see, and rarely do we see this because usually the mountains block it off, but this is a little stronger, more dynamic Clipper. Almost sub 1,000. Wouldn't be surprised if it is. And so you get a shot of snow. DC, Baltimore, up through Philly. You'll see New York City and Boston get filled in as well. There you have it. It's quick. It's a quick shot, though, so coatings, I'd say an inch is definitely plausible, given we'll have some higher ratios. Philadelphia up through New York City, and then you'll see Boston get into the snow, and that's where you could get some coastal enhancement as well. So if we're looking at temperatures, for example, here's your millibars. You can see 999 right there, so it's going to be pretty cold. If we're looking at snowfall kind of amounts to 24-hour accumulations, you can see just coatings over here. DC 0.4, Baltimore 0.2, Philly 0.2, New York City right near the edge of an inch, Boston getting a bit closer to an inch. It's in between New York City and Boston. You could get heaviest snows from coastal development. You can see it kind of improve a little, 1.3 there. So we'll watch it. But if we were to go to, this is 10 to 1. We're not going to have 10 to 1. We're going to have higher than 10 to 1. Okay? And so here's your Kuchera. I think this is honestly underdoing the effects of Kuchera. So the 0.4 would likely be probably closer to an inch. Okay, same with over here in Baltimore. Philly would probably be near a half an inch plus. New York City around an inch. Boston near an inch. Not sure for sure. It's very complicated just because we don't know how much moisture would actually make it past the mountains, because it's rare for much to make it past. By the way, these are why your winter storm watches are up. Lots of snow likely to get clogged up along the mountains. So we'll watch how much it can get past. But coatings look pretty likely, at least, to say the least. So, if we're talking about ratios, again, here are the ratios. Let's kind of go back to precipitation type. Go back to the start of the event. We'll go like right here, and we'll go about 3 or 4 frames in. Here's your snow ratio. DC actually could be under 10 to 1. Baltimore over. Philly near 11 to 1. New York City 12.4. Over near Boston near 13 to 1, but it decreases as you go on because this comes late afternoon, and so it's really evening where it peaks. DC gets above 10 to 1, Baltimore gets almost 13 to 1, Philly around 13 to 1, New York City gets above, and then Boston could get close to 14 to 1. And then one last frame as the snow's wrapping up. DC 11.3, Baltimore around 12.5, 13, Philly near 14, New York City around 13, 14. And Boston closer to 15. So we'll have to watch. The ratios will likely more apply towards these areas, I'd say. These areas, but we'll see how it does apply. I'll likely get to Baltimore as well. We'll see how that plays out, but we'll have to watch it. NAM's pretty interesting with it. We can look at some other model runs as well. Wrap not quite in range. Some of these aren't in range, so better gist of it probably later on. We can look at the RGEM though, and it's a little weaker with it, so it kind of shows the second feature well, though. It's more aggressive with the second feature. So here's your light snow, heads out. Then you have your Arctic boundary right here. And this could create some snow squalls. Okay, these are all snow squalls. So it's kind of 2 bouts of snow. Light snow possible, and then some snow squalls behind it, which could total up to 1+ inches. So we'll have to see that. Euro, we can look at some of the deterministic runs. Like Euro, for example, is pretty aggressive near the Philly area, an inch plus. GFS, same thing, around an inch. Once you get closer to New York City, especially Boston, that's where you get more. Further north you go, I say you get more. We can see the short range blend for now. It doesn't really have a good kind of handle on it, but general snow threat. We'll have to wait for more models come in because it's still kind of far out. Now let's talk about next week. Okay, it's gonna be interesting next week. So GFS 12Z is out. Here's your clipper. Cold air is established. What I am watching. So you get a little moderation. This is mainly midweek. Then you get a little sliding storm. We'll see if that does anything. Reinforces colder air. This is where you get ready for overrunning. This is a late week in next week. You'll have energy here. Okay. You'll probably have some sort of northern piece as well. Okay. We watch to see if they combine. This would favor Miller B most likely. Okay. Comes up, goes coastal transfer, and out. That's kind of what we saw with this past storm, but likely cold air won't be as antecedent. So we'll have to see how long areas can hold on. So, for example, this is GFS. Here's a storm. Okay, pops off storm, but does keep it south. So you get snow for the same area. I mean, North Carolina, Southern Virginia, portions of Kentucky, West Virginia. And so this stays south. Little skeptical of this. Feel like southeast ridge is flexing enough to get it further north. We'll watch it though. You can see a little secondary low tries to develop. So we'll watch it. It could be a strong high too, but 1030, 1029, honestly ideal for snows up in the mid-Atlantic and northeast. Now, Euro kind of gives a better idea. And then after that, moderation, I feel like. But we'll see how that goes. Really think we have a storm opportunity right before or near Valentine's Day. So here's a clipper. Here's your little slider. This is important right here. Okay, you already saw the storm, but this is important right here. Euro has cold air like fresh injection right there. 1024 high, honestly not strong enough, but it's there. 1027, good placement, kind of departing, but you have cold air damming. Okay, this sets up your cold air damming events. Like I was talking about, it would be a cold air damming Miller B setup. Classic. So you get wintry precipitation, strong black. Inside, this is a black line. This is where your wintry precipitation is. So DC, Baltimore, you'll see Philly, all thumps. Begins with a thump of snow. This is 7 a.m. on Saturday. We get further in, but you do get warm air injection. That high is fleeting. That high that was here, it's heading out. So you get warm air injection. Okay, this would be classic rain to or snow to ice to rain event. So you get warm air injection that comes in like a beast. Okay, this would be nothing like the past Miller B where you have low level cold just based off the year. Okay, this can easily change and it's kind of far out still, but the signal is there. So DC flips to rain, Baltimore right on the mix line, Philly gets that thump of snow, same with New York City starting to get into the snow. This is 1 p.m., so this afternoon, Saturday. Go another frame, rain from DC, Baltimore, almost Philly. Philly area and suburbs are mixing. New York City gets some snow, and then you'll see Boston get into it. This is where you do get it's a press of cold though. Then you have your cold shot waiting behind it, so you get a very look at that 987 low, and so I feel like Euro, for example, if sounding in Philly, this is your sounding 32. If this is a freezing rain sleet sounding, it's right there, so it's gonna be dynamic just based off the Euro. And then you get a little wrapping of precipitation, but it's a pretty aggressive Miller B, okay, or overall storm and. Cold antecedent, thump of snow, ice, rain, back to possible back snow, and then you get your little colder injection and some moderation, honestly. But Euro, GFS, honestly, disagree. 360 hours out, you have trough in the west, ridge in the east. Except it's there, it just doesn't get as deep as the Euro. So we'll watch, see how it goes. But this is your storm signal. If we're going to 60 GFS, it showed the same, not the same storm, but similar storm signal. So here's your clipper. This was our clipper slider. It's a little north, reinforce that cold air, and there it is right there. Okay, this time your high is 1031. It's not really budging, by the way. You can see it stays there. Okay, it stays there. So you get snow south to DC, well into Virginia even, and then you start to mix in DC, Baltimore, Philly. Stays mainly snow as of right now. Okay, likely will mix there too. And actually no, it doesn't. The low is able to get off the coast fast enough, deepen, really wrap that colder air in. And if you take a look, GFS is much deeper just based off 6Z than 12Z Euro on the colder run. Your cold air only gets about the Appalachian chain here. It's off the coast of the Carolinas, okay? So that's something, and then wraps up and heads out. That would be a major storm, even more major than the past one we just had. So it all depends on the eye. I do think we'll have a cold air damming setup. So we'll have to see how exactly that plays out. Best thing to look at is ensembles, which we do have support for some sort of storm signal by later next week. If you did enjoy this video, please consider subscribing, liking, sharing with friends. Have a great rest of your day, and weather is about to get interesting.